Hey everyone, I'm Autumn with Lowkey R&B, and today we have Léa the Leo. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We were just talking a little bit off camera about, she's over in LA, I'm in Jersey, and we're just going to start talking a little bit about your upbringing. So you're in LA, but you grew up in Massachusetts. So how did your upbringing influence your pursuit of music?
Yeah. So I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts, which is like a small urban town. It's very cultural. It's a very diverse city. And from a young age, I was in band, marching band. I actually started playing trumpet. I didn't start with voice, but I've always loved singing. But it was I was always surrounded by music. Both of my parents are also musicians as well. So from a young age, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I went to the same college they went to, all that annoying stuff, small city things. But
Oh.
I think being from Brockton, Massachusetts, I learned how to be 100% myself in spaces because everybody was real. There was no sugarcoating anything. Like we were all having real life experiences together. So I learned to be myself in no matter what space that I walk into. And I do that with my music as well.
I love that. I love that. So, you said that your parents are also musicians. Did they influence some of the music that you grew up listening to? Like, what were some artists that you grew up listening to?
Yeah, I grew up to listening to a lot of Stevie Wonder and Alicia Keys. Those were my two big ones. My dad used to drive me to school in like first grade, and we would always have Alicia Keys, Stevie Wonder, so Diary Alicia Keys, Songs in the Key of Life on rotation, little mini Ripperton. So they were big influences on my music listening growing up.
I love that. I love me some Alicia Keys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she definitely influenced the whole braids and everything. I
Uh-huh.
I played piano a little bit. I wanted to be like her.
I thought I was Alicia Keys. I was like, I am Alicia Keys. She's the East Coast girl. She a little rough around the edges. I was like, yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely love her. So, I want to get right into your debut EP, Purpose, which is out right now on all music platforms. So, you recently had a listening party out in LA. So, how did you feel going into your listening party last week and having everyone listen to the EP for the first time?
It was like a surreal experience, especially having it be hosted at a Dolby screening theater. Um,
Mhm.
but also like really intimidating, like watching people listen to my project for the first time. I was like, I don't want to look at anybody. I don't want to see what your reaction is. But it was so beautiful. I had my family and my friends there and people I didn't know too. I got to meet new people through listening to my music. It was a beautiful experience. I'm so grateful that I was able to do something like that for my debut EP. The EP is mixed in Dolby Atmos, so we got to hear it in the Dolby Atmos treated theater, which was it was surreal. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, it sounds so good because I have Tidal and it lets you like listen to it in that format. I'm like, oh my God, it is like it's like you're in there with you, like in
I
the
know, like in your brain.
right? Right.
Yeah.
So, what about the writing process? Did you write any of the songs on your EP?
Yeah, so I wrote all of the songs on the EP. Most of them I co-wrote with my producer, OB3. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, so some of them I wrote in my bedroom before I even started working with my producer, and I brought them to him like like what can I do with these, and he turned them into such like a beautiful masterpiece with me. It was a great experience. But as far as the writing process goes, it we did not go into it thinking we were going to make an EP. We were just making music, and it came together as such a beautiful story that it just worked out. But we didn't work on all of it right away. So I would bring it to him, and we were like, "No, we're not going to work on it until it feels right. Like purpose, I can't be if I'm in a happy old mood and like life is great. I can't, I want to feel in the moment of what I'm recording, and we're very big on being in a genuine experience when we're making the music. So it was a little sporadic over the past year and a half and maybe 2 years that we put the EP together.
Right. That's cool. So, how did you guys find each other?
I actually went to school with Obi. We went to Berklee College of Music together, and he was about 3 years older than me.
Mhm.
But he performed with my dad before ever meeting me because my dad went to Berklee as well. Came back
Mhm.
a few years later to do a show there, and Obi performed in the show. And my dad was like, my daughter's going to be here next year, so look out for her. So I had kind of like a little guardian angel my entire college year, and I had no idea. But we met each other again about 2.5 years ago, and we're like, let's work on music together. And then now we have an EP out. So
Wow. I love that. I think that's so nice that like, your father was able to, have your little guardian angel there at your school and stuff to help you out because college can be so hard by itself. And then, it's nice to have someone like looking out for you.
he used to say, I have eyes everywhere. I'm like, you don't have eyes nowhere. You don't know what I'm doing. But I was like, oh no, he actually did. Like I was like, oh.
He was serious.
Yeah.
So, which do you think was the hard? You were saying that you had to get into, a certain mood and like, be genuine when you were recording the music. So, which do you think was like the hardest to like get into a mood to record on the album?
Artist. As far as mood goes, I would say, I don't know, that's hard because Purpose I wrote well we recorded it as I was recording another song, and I like broke down crying, and we wrote it and then recorded in that moment and used the first take. So that was pretty easy. But I think
Wow.
I would say Over Again. Over Again has a lot of stacked vocals and has a big vocal range. So that probably was the hardest to execute because I was like, I need this to be like a heavy hitter, you know.
Hmm.
I'd probably say Over Again was the most difficult for us.
So, how did you go about picking the order for the track list?
Mm-hmm. We had a couple different options. It took us a couple tries, but I really wanted the EP to tell the full story of where I was at the time when I wrote these songs. I was like 20, just turning 21 when I wrote them.
Mhm.
My parents' bedroom, or well, my bedroom at my parents' house, working a job I didn't like, and going through the changes of moving across the country and all these things. And I want you to feel that throughout the EP. So you start with the unrequited love, and then I talk about moving across the country and things looking different. And then I think that what's going on in my head, and then it's all craziness. And then the last song is Purpose. And that's when I find my purpose and what all of that was for. So it's kind of like the book ends with Purpose.
I love that. And that makes so much, when I was listening to it too, it makes so much sense that you ended with Purpose because, and I also think is, and you could tell me if I'm wrong or not, because this is what I got from it. The last song was that it's kind of like all these people, believe in you and know that your purpose, but then now you're still like figuring out what it is. So do you think
Yeah.
that's kind of similar to the take you were going with that?
It was a little bit of that, but it was more the I'm struggling with all of these things, and I'm looking for validation in other people, and trying
Mm,
to figure out what have other people give me an answer for what I'm here on this earth to do. But
mhm.
at the end of the day, I have my parents and my family, and like I know they love me, and that's all I need. All I need is to feel loved, and then I can go on with the rest of my life instead of looking for an answer in just why I'm here. I have my answer in my family. Like, I'm here to love people and for people to love me and to experience life with people. So
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot because and I understand why that was an emotional song for you to record too. Cause like even listening to it, I was like, dang. Like I told you I was listening to it while I was, I listened to it again while I was getting ready and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how, you know, like personal this song is. So I like I said, I can't even pick my favorite one. I think, do you have a favorite one?
I do. I
Hmm.
would say my favorite song on the EP would be Unspoken. It's the second to last song.
Hmm.
uh, Specifically because every time I listen to it, I remember exactly where I was when I wrote it and exactly how I felt. And that's one of the first songs that I wrote off of the EP.
Oh, wow.
And I was just writing it because that's what was on my mind at the time, and I had no idea what was going to come from that song, and for that it was going to blossom into such a beautiful EP. So for me, it's like, wow. Every time I hear that, I'm like, you've come such a long way from when you were first writing that song in your backyard.
Oh, So, oh my God, I love that. Oh my God. Yeah, because like you get like, you have that personal because you wrote it, you know what I'm saying? So the only thing that we can do as listeners is kind of reflect back and see how that, affects how that what's the word I'm looking for? How that, relates to us and like our stories and stuff like that. That's what I got with Topanga Blues too. I really like that one. Is a little bit more like upbeat too. And it was just like, I
Mhm.
was like grooving, make my coffee, stuff like that.
Yeah, I
I
love
really,
that.
I really like that one. So, a purpose is a solo effort besides, you working with, your producer and everything. Is there another artist you think that would have been a good feature? It could be any artist, like your favorite artist, or would have been a good feature on there.
You know what? We were actually just talking about that, my producer and I, because I really want to work with other artists, and I really love Kamari's writing. I don't know if you've ever heard Kamari's music. He has a song called Doctor My Eyes, and I'm like that song right there. I think we would have wrote something beautiful together that would have been on the EP. So maybe in the future, but
Yes, yes. So I think you kind of explained it before, but I just want to, get a clear answer too about the title track too. So like Purpose is the last song on the album and it's the title track. So how would you describe purpose to you? Like what does that mean to you?
Hmm. That's a hard answer because I also still kind of take the stance of there's no one true definition to what your one purpose is in life.
Yeah.
And I think it changes the more you grow too, and you kind of define what your purpose is at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Um, but I talk about my mother and my father and my friends, and it's whatever you feel makes you feel at home. That's, your the purpose is more of a feeling. That's how I think of it is, I feel like I have a sense of purpose because when I was writing it, I was just kind of my spirit just felt like it was all over the place. I didn't really have like any type of direction or I was so lost. But then when I found the love from my family or recognized the love from my friends and my family, my spirit kind of felt like at ease. And for me, that I now have a sense of purpose. So.
Yeah. I like that. I think it is definitely a feeling because I think it also can change too. And it doesn't have to always be just career or love or
Right.
whatever, or friendship. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be in one area of your life. It could just
We, we
differ
get
for
so swept up in thinking that our whole purpose or reason for being here is so that we can prove something to somebody or something to ourselves, or we can make money, or we can be big and famous and rich and all these things. But at the end of the day, we are just spirits in a body. So it's
yeah.
so much bigger than just what the life is that you're living right here on this earth. It's so much bigger than that. So that's something I was kind of coming to terms with.
No, and I think it's definitely seen throughout the EP as well. So I think you got your purpose with that one. You got it.
Thank you.
So unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to South by Southwest, but I know that you were there and you performed. So are there any other types of live performances that we can see from you in the future, possibly?
Yeah, I do have a show coming up on June 18th at the Lullaby Loft out here in LA.
Mhm.
But I do plan to just perform as much as possible this summer. I want to be, the goal is festivals, but we're working up to it. But yeah, that's the first show coming up is on the 18th. And yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's good. So lastly, I just want to ask, just give me all the plugs that you have for your music so that everyone can stream Purpose and follow you as well.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so Purpose EP is out now on all streaming platforms. My name is Leia the Leo. I'm also on all social media platforms, and I would love to connect with anybody. You can follow me, Leia the Leo, Lea the Leox.
Awesome. Thank you so much for speaking with me today. It was such a pleasure.
I know, it's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.